Well, hey folks, this is John with Ozarks Backroads. I'm back in my usual location today, out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. On the agenda today, I've got a couple of springs I want to look at. One of them I haven't seen since I was a kid, maybe 12 or 13 years old. Used to swim down here back in the day, but it's been a long time since I've been here. I didn't even remember how to get here or for sure where it was, but I found it on a map, and we're going to take a look at this first location. There's a spring that feeds a mill. There's an old mill here. Used to be the side of a town, but the mill shut down in the 1940s and the town kind of went away at that point. We'll take a look at that, and then we've got another spring on down the road a ways that I've never seen, never been to, and I hope I can find it. It is out in the woods, but we'll take a look for that too. So today we're out on the mighty CFMOTO, our Ibex 800T. We've got it out in south central Missouri on a spring hunt. So stick around, we'll mount up and check out some Missouri Ozarks springs. So we don't have a lot of stuff on the bike today, just some water and juice and some camera gear. So I'm pretty light, all things considered. A lot of times I ride with a lot of gear on, and a day like this, why, I feel like I'm riding a bicycle. So we're going to head on down the road and see if we can take a look at our first spring, and there's a mill on it. So that'll be kind of cool, I think. So it's been a very long time since I've been to this location. I don't really remember much about it. We used to swim in the river down here right by this mill, the North Fork River, when I was a kid, but that's been a day or two. So the name of this place is called Topaz, T-O-P-A-Z. I'll put it up on the map here, but along in the 1890s, a fella built a mill on a spring that's right here by the river, and a little town sprung up around the mill there. It was called Topaz. It had a post office and a general store. The old store is still there as far as I know, and some houses and stuff around there. People lived there. Yeah, it was a happening little spot. And then along about the 1940s, electricity became available in other places, lots of other places, towns. Most of the towns around had electricity, you know, in the 1920s, but by the 1940s, there wasn't much use for the mill anymore, and it shut down, and then the town just evaporated. There's still some old houses there. There is a fellow that still lives there across the road from the old store, and I believe he owns the store and the mill and all that. So that'll be cool. And there's another way into this mill. It's a better road than this. I'm coming in the back way. This is the way we used to come when I was a kid. There is another way, and I think the road's a lot better. This is really steep and a lot of rocks and stuff. Well, who'd have thought there'd be water at a mill? Anyhow, got some water backed up over here. I don't remember where I'm at. We'll just have to do a little exploration here. See if I can get my bearings. I think this is the spring right here. Yeah, this is the spring. And the mill's right over here. All right, I know where I'm at. Now, this just looks like a pond, but it is a spring. And I'm going to try to put the drone up and fly over this. You can look down in it and see the spring hole right in the center. There's some sand. It's kind of blue. If I can get the drone over that, it'll be pretty cool. And I would say the spring is not moving a whole lot of water right now. And then here's the old mill right here. We'll get the camera out and take a look at that, and then there's the old store. So that's pretty cool. And they used to make axe handles. It hadn't been that long ago they were making axe handles. They turned the old general store into an axe handle factory. They got their pumpkins out. They're expecting people. That's pretty cool. All right, we'll turn this off. Still got all the chutes and everything. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's complete. That is really cool. The old belt running up through the floor. Oh, you just don't see that anymore. These things that are still.
You know this company in Fort Leavenworth,
Oh yeah.
Leavenworth,
Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah. They're still in business. They still make milling equipment.
What's the name of it? Great Western. Okay.
Great Western Milling.
Huh.
Fort Worth, Kansas.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's pretty neat.
They're still in business.
That is cool. Is it a barber's chair?
It's a barber chair and a dental chair.
Okay, you could get
Yeah.
You could get it all done when you come to the mill.
Yeah.
Get your teeth worked on, your hair cut.
Well, the barber and the dentist were one and the same
Yeah,
back in that day,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, sometimes they were the doctor too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's propped up. We better get a picture of that.
They had a stove in here, and they could make boil water, heat up water for shaving people, and
Right. Yeah, that old flu, it probably needs to come down one of these days. Let's see.
Been like that for
tonic. A long time.
A long time. When they bought this farm, when my husband was a little boy.
Well, a haircut was a quarter. That was quite a bit. A quarter.
We don't exchange table.
I'll
you
be.
bring in so much, Miller gets so much.
Right. Right.
The store gets so much.
That's pretty cool. And all the rates and.
It's just got.
Kind of a user's manual or something.
Well, just where you can get, where you can order, and
that kind
of thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a user manual.
Wow.
All the equipment.
Is that all from the Kansas?
This is
Indianapolis. Okay. Yeah. Well, they got grain there too.
They got grain. They got a lot of grain out there too.
Well, that's pretty cool. A lot of old gears and pulleys laying around.
There's.
So.
Oh yeah, that would have been because my sister was born 46.
Yeah.
We don't know years.
When did the post office close? Do you know? They bought this from somebody that makes these for post offices. Well, isn't that something? Who'd have thought?
This is where it's at.
Yeah. Oh, you can put your mail through the slot. Get money orders over here.
Get money orders, put your mail through the slot. Weigh your.
Right. They still have that today.
They still have that today.
A little bit different, but.
My husband says somebody comes and knocks on the door and you go.
What is this? Just an old. Okay, it's a bed. It's a hideaway. All right. Yeah. Well, that's a fancy one. It's a lot of oak.
Yeah.
You know? And there's even room for it. Now, did the postmaster have to sleep here, or what was the deal on that? Totally made out of wood, that lathe.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. You know, you think of a lathe, it'd be a big cast iron piece of machinery, but
nope.
That was before that.
There's some.
Well, I got to say, that's the first lathe I've seen that was made out of wooden beams.
There were 3 of them in here. One at once, and I still find sawdust.
Oh yeah.
But it's hard as well.
That is just amazing. So here's the spring hole up here, and the output of the spring coming in right here. They've got it diverted and going right into the spring creek right here. They've got it gated off here. There's a plug in the flume that goes to the mill back up here. And this is the spring pond here with the spring in the middle of it. You can see the sand in the bottom of that. We'll have to get the drone up and fly over this and see if we can look down in that and see the sand. And here's a look at the turbine, the old turbine that used to be down in that well there behind the mill. Fit down in that pipe, and then the water would catch in these blades and spin this thing. That is one big turbine. As far as weight goes, that thing must weigh a ton. I imagine once it gets going, it'd take quite a bit to stop it. And this mill was built, it never had a water wheel. It was built as a turbine mill originally, just before the turn of the century in the 1890s. So it was one of the really early turbine mills in the Ozarks. Most of them got converted in the teens, the 1910s and teens. So this one was an early one. Wow, we got the full tour there of the old mill and the old mill here at Topaz, and the old store, the general store. A lot of treasures in there. Pretty cool place right here, Topaz. This was a happening spot back in the day. Well, that was pretty cool. And the lady that owns the place came out and let me in the mill and the store. We took a pretty good look at everything. That mill is almost complete, just like it was when it was operating. It was just really cool. And over in the general store, they were making axe handles, hickory axe handles, in the 50s and 60s and 70s. But he had she said he had at one time 3 of these lathes that they were turning these axe handles on. But they were wooden lathes. There wasn't any, they weren't cast iron framed, they were wooden beams. I've never seen a big long lathe like that wasn't cast iron framed. That's the first one I've ever seen that was just wooden beams for a frame. Hello? They were working on an old truck or something there. Got to roll down some pavement here and get over to our next location. Oh, well, that was my access right there. I just missed it. Bring her on around, driver. So I've never been on this trail to try to find this. So I'm not even sure which way to go here, but we'll figure it out. It can't be that difficult, I wouldn't think. Let's see what this says about this blue hole. I don't know how far we have to walk. All right, so I guess it's this way towards the creek, I would imagine. Makes sense. I hope nobody gets into my stuff. I'm going to be away from the bike for a while, kind of out here in the middle of nowhere. But, you know, what are you going to do? I can't carry all that crap with me. Just have to take my chances, I guess. Some of the underbrush here, the understory stuff in the woods is already starting to take on some color. Leaves are turning yellow. Won't be long. We'll get some nice color going on here. Well, I've made it back to the parking lot. I went in there and the trail made a circle and then came out over here back to the parking lot and didn't even go to the creek. So that was an interpretive trail. They had a bunch of signs up for different types of trees and what they were back in there. But the trail continues on this way. We'll try this next trail over here and see if it goes to the Blue Hole. So this trail doesn't say where it goes, it just says there's a wilderness area ahead. And you can ride a horse or you can walk. You can see it's not much of a trail. All right, well, we are on the Ozark Trail, is what it's marked. It's part of the Ozark Trail system. I'm about a half a mile down and we're not getting any closer to the creek. So I'm gonna turn back. I don't think this is the way to the Blue Hole either. The Blue Hole access is a bust. I went back in there, over half a mile on this one and all the way around this loop. No creek. There is a creek, but it's dry. I didn't see any holes in it over here. So I don't know if you have to get in the creek and walk down or how that works. But I'll do some more research and we'll just have to figure it out. So we're gonna head on down. We can look at where this creek, the spring creek from this Blue Hole spring runs into another creek down here at the bottom of the hill. I need some air on me. I got terribly overheated walking around in the woods. So this is the creek that the spring runs into, and it's dry as a bone. I mean, there isn't any water in it right now. Normally that does have water in it. I think the Blue Hole needs to be, you probably ought to come back when there's actually water, when we've had rain and there's some water moving around. It might be a little easier to find. Well, I've stopped into one of my favorite spots. It's a little state park. It's got a little lake on it they built. They dammed up a creek down here in the valley and made a little pond. This was done way back in the 20s or 30s, I would say. Some of the works projects did that. But I'm gonna see if I can get the drone up here. If I can find a hole up here in this canopy. I think there's one right here, big enough to get the drone through and probably get it back down. We'll take a flight out over the lake. It's a beautiful place. There's probably going to be a lot of moss on the lake. It's late in the season and that builds up through the summer, but besides the moss, I think it's going to be pretty. We'll take a look at it here. Folks, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, checking out that old mill and spring there at Topaz, Missouri. That was really cool. I got the grand tour from the owner. She took me all through the mill and the old general store that was there. I got pictures of everything I could and some video. Hopefully some of that'll turn out, but she had some pretty cool treasures inside of there. We've made it back to a little state park here. I flew the drone over the lake. It's a beautiful little state park. They got some camping, and it's just a really neat place. It's kind of out of the way. You're not going to run into anybody down here for sure. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. I invite you to come back and see me. We'll go somewhere and do something else. Till I catch up with you again, y'all take care of yourselves. We'll catch you next time.